Hi, folks, this is Anthony. Welcome back to my show. Before I ever heard of the name Codie Sanchez and her suggesting that people buy so called boring businesses like laundromats and car washes, I've been suggesting that people look into investing in the stocks of so called boring companies. One that I have a few shares in and that I think is a good illustration is a company called Church and Dwight. You may never have heard of this company, but you know their products, in particular Arm& Hammer brand baking soda. What could be more boring than baking soda? Yet it's something that many people use perhaps multiple times a week, every week of the year for their entire adult lives. And they make a wide variety of other consumer products. And the beauty of such a business model is no matter what the economy is like, people are still going to brush their teeth with toothpaste. If you lose your job, you're still going to use the same amount of toothpaste as if you keep your job and you got a raise. If there's a war going on in Eastern Europe or the Middle East and you live in the United States, you're still going to use the same amount of toothpaste or deodorant. So political and economic conditions don't have nearly the impact on a company like this that they might have on an oil company or a bank. And media or high-tech companies are generally more at risk of shocks to their stock price coming from comments or the behaviors of their household name founders. Much less so in the case of this company, which was started before the American Civil War. And again, I'm not recommending that you buy this. I'm only recommending that you do further research to see if it should be part of your well-diversified portfolio. But here's a chart that shows what it's done year to date, and it's up 10.88%. And by the way, the current yield on the dividend is 1.2% based on today's closing price of $90.94. Over the past 52 weeks, the price is up 23.49%. Over the past 5 years, it's up a total of 37.66%. And here's a chart that goes back to 1983, where if you would have been lucky enough to buy it back then, you'd be up 19,248.94%. Plus, of course, your dividend of a little over 1% per year. So, over the past 40 years, it's had a pretty good run, and that doesn't even include the previous 100 years before that. Will you make the same amount in the future? Probably not. And I think for most people, having most of their money in some good mutual funds, and if nothing else, probably divided up amongst a collection of S&P 500, NASDAQ 100, and a Dow 30, would be a pretty good long-term allocation. But this company, as an individual stock, certainly might be worth having a small allocation in your portfolio. Again, do your own research. Don't base your buying or selling habits on anything that you hear on the internet or what a historic chart shows. Charts are not necessarily great predictors of future returns, although it can be a component in making your investing decisions. But of course, looking at recent financials and considering what future trends for the company and its products will be should be the core to your investment strategy. Okay, that's what I wanted to talk about today. Just putting this on your radar if it isn't already. I've mentioned it a number of times, including earlier this year when I talked about this and other stocks to consider researching for your investments. If you haven't already, please do hit the subscribe button. Let's at least get me up to 850 subscribers today. I've been watching a lot of Codie Sanchez content recently. If you're not familiar with her, check out her channel and her interviews on other people's channels. I think a lot of what she has to say is great for many people to hear. Certainly her thoughts on attitude and dedication to work are important. Some of her advice may not be as relevant to some people depending on where they are in their working and investing careers, but it's still good to hear people's thoughts on such subjects. By the way, when I was going to try to put together a thumbnail for this video, I thought I would try out some AI image generators. I tried using the one from Bing, which of course is a Microsoft product. I typed in the name Codie Sanchez, and it spun its wheels for a long time, so I had to redo it. And on the third try, this is what came up. A message saying that it detected unsafe content that went against their content policies. Now, I could understand them saying any content that they could find possibly violated copyrights and therefore couldn't be shown. That makes potential sense. But when something says that it's unsafe, it usually refers to nudity or symbols indicating racial hatred or something along those lines. What this seems to indicate is that Bing and Microsoft are just being idiotic which is nothing new with them. So the next image I thought I would try to come up with was simply based on the words stocks and bonds. And 4 images came up, 2 or 3 of them extremely close to each other. And as you can see, this idiotic software came up with a businessman overlooking a city with his left arm hanging down, and in his right hand he's holding a briefcase, and in his other right hand he's holding a phone. Now again, I didn't ask for an image of a man holding anything, much less a 3-armed man, but that's just the type of stupidity that the software is coming up with. Okay, once again, thank you very much for watching. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Remember, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. It's simply suggesting stocks that you put on your radar, either to consider doing more research on to see if it fits into what hopefully is a well-diversified long-term portfolio, or in many cases, there are stocks that I recommend people of avoiding, even if they're going up and being pushed online by so-called stock market gurus. If you like this video, check out my other videos. Hit the like button. Please do leave a comment, even if you disagree with me. I'd love to hear from you on your thoughts of this and my other videos. Thanks again.